electric and hydrogen-powered vehicles. They focused on safety, earning top crash test ratings. They transformed branding from cheap and basic to smart and modern. They opened research centers across multiple countries. They created luxury brands to compete with established premium manufacturers. They entered motorsports and technology partnerships, proving their vehicles weren't just reliable, they were high-performance machines. By the mid-2010s, Modern was no longer a joke in the automotive world. It was a giant today. Modern sells vehicles in over 200 countries. It ranks among the top manufacturers worldwide. And none of it would exist without one man's courage. The lessons that endure after his death, universities worldwide began studying his life. Business schools taught students about his leadership style. Experts wrote books about how he led from the front, took impossible risks, believed in his workers, and never forgot his origins. Remember, this man had no college degree, no investors, no background in engineering. He built roads without studying civil engineering. He built ships without shipbuilding experience. He built cars without being an automotive expert. Why? Because he believed in human potential. Here are the final messages people took from his life. 1. You don't need permission to dream. John didn't wait for the world to allow him to succeed. He chased opportunities, knocked on doors, failed repeatedly, and kept walking. His life says, don't wait, begin. 2. Failures are not the end. They're training. He lost everything more than once. Got betrayed, mocked, rejected. But every failure became a new tool. His lesson, if you fear failure, you fear growth. 3. Help others rise as you rise. He didn't just make money. He created jobs, gave people reasons to stay in their communities, supported education, donated to schools, rebuilt neighborhoods. His message, real success isn't about how high you climb, it's about how many people you lift with you. 4. The most powerful tool is character. When people trusted John, they didn't do it because he was wealthy. They did it because he was honest. He kept promises. He paid workers fairly. He stood in front of his mistakes. Even when Modern failed in America, he didn't hide. He said, let us improve. Let us do better. And they did. The living legacy today, many people drive modern vehicles without knowing the story. They press the accelerator, play music, look out the window, unaware that this car symbolizes one person's unstoppable will. But some of us remember. We remember a boy born in a poor village, who was told not to dream, who couldn't afford a train ticket, who ran barefoot across mountains chasing a future nobody else could see. We remember how he failed, got back up and failed again. How he built roads, ships, cars, and dreams. How he didn't just change a country, he changed what people believed was possible. Closing. What Modern has become, the company that started with nothing, not even enough money for train fare, is now one of the largest corporations in the world. Today, Modern is worth over $50 billion. Its vehicles run in more than 200 countries. Its factories employ over 250,000 people globally. Modern has built some of the world's most advanced ships, massive container vessels, high-tech oil tankers, military craft. Its luxury automobile brand now competes with established European luxury makers and wins international awards. All of this originated from a boy with no shoes. This isn't just the story of one man. This is the story of what's possible. So if life is hard right now, if you feel poor, alone, or small, if people say you're not smart enough, not wealthy enough, not strong enough, remember this story. Remember this name, John Park. Because if he could do it, why not you? What is John Park's real legacy? It's not just Modern. It's not just factories or bridges or awards. His legacy is this truth. Even if you're born with nothing, if you keep moving, if you keep building, one day the world will drive on your roads, sail in your ships, and believe in your story. That is the story of the barefoot visionary. And it's a story that must never be forgotten. Let this be more than just words. Let this be a message. If you have a dream, fight for it. If you face a setback, rise again. And if the world tells you that you can't, remember John Park's famous words. This isn't a business decision. It's a national mission. He wants to build a car for his people, bringing in expertise in the early 1970s. Jun understands that building automobiles requires something he doesn't yet possess: experience. So he flies to Britain. He meets with Robert Mitchell, a top engineer who worked at a respected British manufacturer. Mitchell is surprised. Why would an entrepreneur from his country with no automotive company want to hire him? But Jun doesn't beg or flatter. He simply shares his vision. I don't want to copy foreign vehicles. I want to build something new. I need your help. Mitchell is impressed. He agrees, and he's not alone. Jun hires 5 top British automotive engineers, experts in engines, transmissions, design, and safety. He brings them to his country. These engineers arrive in a nation that still has dirt roads in many areas. They're surprised, thinking, how will we build cars here? But Jun gives them something that changes everything: belief. He says, you've built cars before, but now you're building history. They don't have a fancy laboratory. They don't have high-end machinery. They don't have luxury offices. What they have is one warehouse and a leader who refuses to surrender. Birth of the first carrot takes years of work. The team encounters hundreds of failures. Engines don't fit properly. Components break during testing. The body design is too heavy. No supplier wants to provide them with steel, but every time something fails, Jun doesn't yell or walk away. He asks one question: what did we learn? He believes failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the pathway to success. In 1975, after countless long nights, arguments, experiments, and moments of despair, it happens. The first domestically produced car is born, and let's call it the Spirit. It's small, affordable, simple. Not beautiful like a luxury European vehicle. Not fast like an Italian sports car, but proudly homegrown. When the first Spirit automobile is unveiled in the capital, the crowd falls silent. Then they erupt, clapping, cheering, crying. We can do it. We're not small anymore. Going global, creating the Spirit, is just the beginning. The real battle starts when Modern tries selling cars internationally. The major global manufacturers laugh. They say, cars from there, please? They're toys, but Jun has heard this before. When he built bridges, they laughed. When he built ships, they laughed. Now he's building cars. Again, they laugh, but he has weapons they don't expect: courage, discipline, and relentless improvement. He starts small, selling vehicles to developing nations. Then gradually he enters developed markets. In 1986, he makes a bold move, entering the American market with an affordable model called the Spirit Excel. It's not fancy, but it's affordable, fuel-efficient, easy to drive. Americans are curious. In the first year alone, Modern sells over 168,000 vehicles in America, a record. Companies that laughed now begin to worry: the quality crisis. But success isn't permanent. As Modern sells more cars, problems emerge. Many vehicles have issues with engines, air conditioning, components. Customers complain. American publications start calling Modern a low-quality brand. Sales plummet. Respect evaporates. Once again, Jun stands on disaster's edge. His team panics. Let's reduce production. Let's stop exporting. Jun says no. If we're unwilling to improve, we don't deserve success. He makes a huge decision. Modern will rebuild everything. New quality controls, better materials, stronger testing. Let's not compete on price. Let's compete on pride. Year after year, Modern improves. They don't just make cars. They make better cars. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Modern has transformed. The world begins seeing their vehicles not as cheap, but as reliable, intelligent, and well-built. The company that once couldn't manufacture a single tire now wins international awards for quality, design, and safety. In America, people begin saying, Modern isn't just a good car for the money. It's a good car, period. Chapter 4. Building a Nation. After Modern automobiles rise in the global market, something remarkable happens domestically. People no longer see Modern as just a company. They see it as hope, because whenever the country faces a challenge, Modern steps forward. Whenever something seems too big, too impossible, too expensive, there's one man who always says, we will do it. That man is Jun Park. By the early 1990s, the nation has transformed from poverty to prosperity, from survival to growth. And much of that growth has one common thread: Modern's name on it. They're not just making cars. They're building dams, nuclear facilities, refineries, high-speed rail, steel mills, industrial zones, container ships, international expressways, even the country's first satellite launch site. This isn't accidental. This is Jun's mission. He believes if we only imitate the world, we'll always be second. But if we build the future ourselves, we can lead. Modern becomes one of the largest employers with hundreds of thousands of workers across industries. Every job Modern creates supports entire families. Jun understands this responsibility goes beyond business. He once said, "Every time we open a new factory, we're feeding thousands of homes." Business isn't only about profit. It's about people. The bridge of peace, you might think, after decades of building everything, Jun would slow down. But even in his 70s, he keeps visiting work sites, wearing his signature suit and safety helmet, walking through factories and shipyards, talking with workers. He never acts like royalty. He acts like a foreman because deep inside he still sees himself as that barefoot boy who once cleaned bricks for pennies. His hunger for growth never fades. And this hunger leads to one of his boldest ideas. In the late 1990s, when Jun is in his 80s, he shocks the world. He announces he'll travel to the divided North, the same territory that fought in the war, that remains politically isolated, dangerous, closed. Most businessmen would never go there. But Jun isn't like most men. He believes we're one people. We speak the same language. We must rebuild peace. In 1998, he crosses the border, not with speeches or weapons, but with 500 cattle. Yes, 500 cattle. Why? Because during the war, the North had taken livestock from his family's land. Now in peace, he's returning the gesture. Not with anger, but with forgiveness. It's not just a political move. It's a human move. News channels worldwide show images of trucks filled with cattle crossing the demilitarized zone, led by an elderly man in a suit. It's powerful. It's emotional. It's unforgettable. That single act opens a small door between North and South. And it's Modern's founder who turns the key. The final chapter in his final years, Jun steps back from daily operations but never stops thinking. His journal, written in simple script, shows pages filled with thoughts, ideas, plans. His body weakens. His health fades. The man who once worked 18-hour days, who once ran 75 miles barefoot, now walks slower. But his mind remains sharp as ever. He begins writing letters to his family, his executives, and his nation, reminding them, never be satisfied with what you've built. Keep asking, what can we build next? In 2001, at age 85, Jun Park passes away peacefully. The boy from the village is gone, but what he left behind could never be buried. The nation declares a moment of silence. Television stations pause. Even competitors stand to honor him. Why? Because Jun Park wasn't just a businessman. He was a builder of dreams, a man who proved you don't need a college degree to change the world. You don't need permission to build something great. You don't need to be rich to become the foundation of a nation's pride. He started life with nothing but dust on his feet and fire in his chest. He ended life with factories, ships, highways, and the love of millions. Chapter 5. The legacy continues. After Jun Park passed in 2001, the nation didn't simply lose a businessman. They lost a father figure, a symbol of resilience, a man present through war, hunger, and failure, who never backed down. His funeral drew not just executives, but workers, farmers, engineers, politicians, shopkeepers, ordinary people. Some brought flowers, others brought letters. Many brought nothing but tears, knowing that without this man, their country might have taken a very different path. The empire he built had grown enormous. Construction, automobiles, electronics, steel, banking, shipping. The first months after his death brought tension. Who would lead? Would Modern survive? Would it fracture? The answer came through a bold decision. Modern would restructure into multiple independent companies, each with its own leadership and focus. This was painful but necessary, because Jun's dream wasn't about one person controlling everything. His dream was growth, innovation, and freedom. Modern split into separate entities. Modern Motors, automobiles, Modern Engineering and Construction, infrastructure, Modern Heavy Industries, shipbuilding, Modern Steel, materials, Modern Mobies, automotive parts, and others. Slowly, each company stood on its own feet, honoring the founder not by copying him, but by continuing his spirit. Modern Motors' transformation of all the companies in the Modern family, the motor company carried the deepest emotional weight. It was the automobile that made people believe in their own strength. After Jun's death, Modern Motors began a massive transformation. The world still remembered the old image, cheap but low quality. But now the company wanted something bold. They didn't just want to survive internationally, They wanted to lead. They invested heavily in design, bringing top designers from Europe and America. They developed cutting-edge technology, hybrid. My friends, let me share with you an extraordinary tale. Imagine someone who toiled in muddy rice paddies without shoes on their feet. Someone who never stepped inside a university classroom. Someone so desperately poor that they couldn't buy a simple train ticket, so they ran nearly 75 miles on foot, driven by nothing but a dream. This isn't motivational fluff. This isn't make-believe. This actually happened. Today, I'm going to tell you about someone who started with absolutely nothing and created something remarkable. Someone with no wealth, no formal education, no connections, but possessed one quality that transformed everything, an unshakable refusal to quit. Why listen to this story? Because it's about more than business success. It reveals how to persevere when life knocks you down. How to maintain faith when everyone doubts you. How to stand firm when every door slams shut. So settle in, because what you're about to hear might not just teach you something. It might fundamentally change how you see what's possible. Chapter 1. Born into hardship. Let's travel back in time. The year is 1915 in a small, impoverished farming village in what was then unified Korea. Here, a boy enters the world. Let's call him Jun Park. Born to a family of rice farmers, barely scraping by. Their home has a straw roof. Their meals are meager, often insufficient. As the oldest son, young Jun must work the fields every single day from age 7 onward. No shoes for his feet, no toys, no time for childhood dreams. He hauls water. He cuts grass for livestock. He helps plant and harvest rice. His father is stern, believing in one ironclad principle. Work hard, don't waste time dreaming. A farmer's child must become a farmer. That's the way of things, but Jun is different. Even as a small boy, he hungers for more. He gazes at distant mountains and wonders, is this really all there is? Around 14, a dream takes root in his heart. He wants education. He wants to learn mathematics to become a teacher. One day, he secretly leaves home and walks for miles to enroll in a school. His father discovers this and furiously drags him back to the farm. "Stop this foolishness," his father says sharply. Dreams don't feed hungry stomachs. This is the first time life tells him, stay in your place. But something inside Jun refuses to accept this. Several years later, he tries again. This time, he leaves home with a handful of coins and an enormous dream. He wants to reach the capital city, but he doesn't have money for train fare. So what does he do? He runs, yes, 75 miles on foot. No mobile phone. No packed food. Just an unshakable belief that something better exists beyond those rice fields. When he finally reaches the city, he finds work at a construction site, carrying bricks and mixing cement from dawn until dusk. His hands bleed. His back aches. But each night he whispers to himself, someday, I won't just build houses. I'll build something magnificent. After months of grueling labor, he saves enough to start small. With a partner, he opens a modest rice trading shop. His first taste of commerce. Then disaster strikes. His partner steals everything and vanishes. He's lost it all. Most people would have surrendered, returned to the village in defeat. Not Jun. He wipes away his tears and declares, money can be stolen, but not my fire. Not my vision. He starts over from absolute zero. Over the following years, he works whatever jobs he can find, hauling bricks, delivering goods, repairing bicycles, shining shoes. He watches. He listens. He learns not from textbooks, but from real life. Gradually, he begins understanding how business operates, how people think, how to earn respect rather than just money. Finally, in the 1940s, Jun opens a small construction company. He builds roads and repairs bridges. Even government officials start noticing the quality of his work. Then the Second World War ends. The country lies in ruins, split in two. But where others see devastation, Jun sees opportunity. Where they see rubble, he sees future highways. Chapter 2. Rising from the ashes. When we last left Jun Park, he had just launched his small construction firm. But let's not rush ahead, because the world he was entering, Korea in the late 1940s, was not filled with hope. The nation had just emerged from decades of foreign occupation. But freedom didn't feel free. The country was broken, impoverished, destroyed. No proper infrastructure. No clean water systems. No major industries. No framework. The nation was like a body with a heartbeat but no skeleton. Yet where others saw nothing, Jun saw possibility. He believed, if our country is shattered, then we must rebuild it. We the people must become the builders. In 1946, at age 31, he officially establishes his company. He names it Modern Construction, a name meaning contemporary or new era. Think about the audacity. A man raised barefoot in rice paddies, without formal education, starts a company called Modern. He doesn't just want to pave roads, he wants to construct the future. Initially, Modern Construction handles small jobs, roads, bridges, building repairs. But his mindset differs from everyone else's. Most contractors say, "We're too small for major projects." Jun says, "We're small precisely because we never pursue major projects." He starts bidding on bigger contracts. He takes calculated risks. He hires people smarter than himself and watches everything meticulously. He doesn't sit behind a desk. He visits sites personally, talks with workers, inspects every stone and beam. He believes if you build something, it must be strong enough to carry tomorrow's weight. The war years in 1950, war erupts. North against South, brother against brother. Cities burn, thousands perish. For most businesses, it's the end. For Jun Park, it's the beginning of something massive. He doesn't flee. He doesn't shut down. He surveys the destruction and thinks, this country will need roads again. It will need buildings again, and I will be the one to construct them. He partners with the government, helping rebuild critical infrastructure. His workers aren't just laborers, they're rebuilding their own homeland. This makes Modern Construction stronger, not just as a company, but as a trusted name. People begin believing in the Modern Construction brand because when everyone else was paralyzed by fear, Modern kept moving forward. The bridge that changed everything. One of the most pivotal moments comes in the 1960s. The government presents him with a challenge. We need a bridge spanning the Han River. Can you handle it? Here's the truth. Modern Construction had never built a bridge before. Competing firms laugh. They say he doesn't have an engineering degree. He's not a bridge specialist. He's just a general contractor. But Jun responds, if we keep saying we can't, we'll never learn how. So he accepts the project. He assembles a team, hires engineers, studies every blueprint, visits bridges worldwide. Then he begins construction. Every day he stands by the riverbank, observing, planning, correcting. After just 4 months, the Han River Bridge stands complete. Those who mocked him now stand silent. A rice farmer's son has just constructed one of the nation's most critical bridges. This isn't merely a bridge. It's a symbol, a declaration to the world. This nation is rising, and Modern Construction is helping it rise. After the bridge, Modern's reputation explodes. The government entrusts him with highways, dams, ports, and shipyards. But Jun isn't satisfied. Deep down, he remembers being that shoeless boy. He wants more than wealth. He wants transformation into shipbuilding. He announces, we cannot simply copy the world. We must create. Then he makes a shocking decision. Modern will build ships. People laugh again. This country has no shipbuilding experience. We lack the technology. Jun smiles and says, then we'll learn. We'll begin. We'll try. He meets with British shipbuilders, convinces them to partner, studies shipyards abroad. He purchases land in a coastal fishing village and declares, this place will become the heart of our industrial future. People think he's lost his mind. But by 1974, Modern Construction has launched its first major vessel and becomes one of the world's top shipbuilders. From mud to metal, from rice paddies to global factories, Jun isn't building just a company anymore. He's building a dream factory. By the late 1970s, Jun has constructed roads, bridges, buildings, ports, ships. But one thing is missing, automobiles. The country imports all its cars from abroad. Jun asks a dangerous question. Why can't we make our own vehicles? Nobody has an answer. So he decides to do it himself. Chapter 3. The Automobile Dream. Jun Park. The boy who once walked 75 miles barefoot has now built the nation's first highways, shipyards, and ports. He's admired, trusted, respected, but he's still unsatisfied. He remembers how his country relied on imported vehicles from abroad and how people believed that his nation could never manufacture cars. That automobile production was exclusively for wealthy countries with advanced machinery and technology. But Jun believes something different. He believes in his people. He declares, we've built roads. Now we must build the wheels that will travel on them. His team is shocked. Automobiles? We lack the knowledge. We don't have automotive engineers. We don't have the equipment, Jun simply replies. Then we'll learn. We'll create the equipment. We'll train the engineers. That's what modern means. That's the future.